Hey, welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm Perry Black, and on this program we have a family that was fostering and now have adopted. So we've got a great story and a great testimony. You don't want to miss it, and we'll be right back with the family Stone. Hey, welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm your host, Perry Black, and on this program, we have two very special guests. This is like a search mint, you know, a breath mint or a candy mint. It stop, you're both right. We have twice the guests, so this is going to be twice the information than you'd normally get on just a typical show with one person. Isn't that exciting?
It is.
Our guest is Jason and Nicole Stone, and I found out just before we went live that you guys are adoptive parents. So y'all got maybe what, 1, 2 children?
No, keep going.
3?
No.
Keep going.
4?
Keep going.
5?
5.
Ding, ding, ding.
So y'all took Genesis 1, multiply and replenish the earth. Y'all took that really personal and literal,
Very serious.
We
Yes,
did.
Very serious.
And the exciting thing is you are adoptive parents and you have birth children as well.
Yes.
But before we get too deep in that, I want to know more about you guys. Jason, what do you do?
I actually work for a Spy Realty Group, and so I run the office, and so I'm also a realtor, but mostly I just run the office, make sure everybody's happy.
Okay, well that's important.
Yes, yes.
And Nicole, with 5 children, what do you do?
I work at a place called Vivid Health, and I do a lot of office work, make appointments, that kind of thing.
Appointments for what?
He is a functional medicine doctor. He also is a psychiatrist, so it's kind of 2 different veins.
When you say functional medicine, is that holistic or?
It's getting to the root of the cause, like
There
not
you go.
just treating the symptoms, but actually getting to the issue.
That's
And
a
I
whole
like
other
that.
show.
Yes,
Because
Yeah, that's good.
yes.
I preached a message years ago called Trimming the Hedges, and Christians are as bad about this as anybody. We trim the hedges. We're sculpturists, boy. We can make the
Right.
outside look really great, but on the inside, if you never deal with the root cause, you haven't really accomplished anything.
That's
you just
so
end up
true.
decorating your life like a Christmas tree.
That's good.
So you guys have been married. I'm going to ask your husband, Jason. Jason, how long y'all been married?
Well, 23 years. Yesterday.
Yes.
Yesterday was
Yesterday.
our anniversary.
Wow,
Yes.
happy anniversary,
Yes,
I
thank you.
guess.
Yes, yeah, absolutely it was. Yeah.
All right. So how did y'all meet?
Met in 6th grade at a, we've told the story a lot, but we met in 6th grade. We were at a competition. It was a Christian school competition. We went to different schools.
Where did you go?
I went to Cloverdale Christian over on Garrish Springs.
Yeah, Garrish Springs.
Uh-huh.
I know exactly where that is.
And then
I was at
we were-
Heritage.
you were at
Heritage
Which
Baptist.
was on Stagecoach
Right,
Road.
right.
Yeah. And that school, did it close in the last few years?
I don't know when. I know it's
Yeah.
closed. but
Yeah. So Heritage Christian, and so y'all met like at a school event, a competition of some kind?
Yes, and I saw her, and oh my goodness, I looked straight up at her, and
And she
I
saw
fell
you
in
and
love.
went,
She said, "Who's this little guy?"
He
Yes.
was shorter than me because I'm
Yeah.
pretty tall.
And y'all were in the
so,
6th
yeah.
grade.
Yes.
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 now wait a minute, you've been married 23 years. You didn't get married when you were in the 6th grade. So
No.
tell me,
No.
where'd you graduate?
We graduated from a school called Victory. It's no longer a school either, but that's where we graduated from.
Where was that at?
It was on 65th Street.
Oh yeah, Paul Daughtery's
Yes,
ministry. Yeah.
yes.
Okay. See,
Yes.
all of our viewers know these things. That's why I
Okay.
have to interrupt and get all the details because we
Yeah.
connect the dots.
Yes.
I lived on Woodson Court
Okay.
in Southwest Little Rock,
Yes.
not far from where Victory was or is, and of course. Attended church at Church of God on Frenchman's Lane. I can almost see where you went
Yeah,
to
you
school
can,
there at
yes.
Cloverdale.
Yep.
We lived on Azalea, and then we built our first
Yeah.
home out Hinkie Road. So all that
Wow. Oh,
I know where
southwest
Hinkie
area.
is,
yeah.
You know where Hinkie is?
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
we also lived around Sardis area,
Yeah.
and so.
Yeah. So we're almost friends, and we just met.
Absolutely.
are.
Absolutely.
That's the beauty of Arkansas. Isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
So you guys got married. You have how many birth children?
3.
3. So that means
And 3
with
in heaven.
3 and say that again.
3 birth children, 3 in heaven.
We had 3 miscarriages.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
you're parents of 8.
Yes, it would be. Yes.
Man.
Yeah.
So how did you go from birth children it sounds like you've got 2 adoptive children.
Yes.
How did that transpire?
I'll let you-
Well, I think we've always talked about adopting. I grew up I have a brother, but he's 10 years older than me, and so I didn't really have a lot of siblings. He was the same way, and so I think we knew we wanted to have a larger family. We didn't know how large, but we'd always talked about adopting. We just knew that was in the back of our minds. So when it came time, I had 3 perfect pregnancies, I would say.
You had the 3 perfect ones first.
Right. And then I had 3 miscarriages.
Wow.
And at that point, we were kind of like, maybe this is, it's time to
All right.
start
I want to
considering.
interrupt here just for a second, because I believe by the Holy Spirit somebody's watching that's gone through the trauma of a or more than 1 miscarriage.
Right.
How did you process that as a believer, where you not only have and are probably in some ways from time to time still processing it, but then took the step to adopt? How did you deal with that spiritually?
I think at first I was asking those questions. Why, God? Why did this happen?
Yeah.
What did I do wrong? All of those questions, and that was sad to go through. But then once you kind of get past the initial shock of it, you kind of have to get real with yourself and with God and say, God, you are good no matter
All
what.
the time.
And I know that there's a plan in this. I don't know what it is. I don't understand it, but I'm going to trust you through it. And so it happened. That happened 3 times. And by the end of that 3rd one, I was like, okay, we've got to do something different.
But you dealt with some personal self-guilt,
Right.
try to put that off on yourself.
Yes, I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah,
I
we're
did.
bad about that. The woman in 1 Kings 17, she's got the man of God living in her house, meal that obviously we find out later doesn't waste for 3.5 years during that famine period. And while the man of God's living at the house, she's got miracle meal. Her son dies. First thing she says is, "Oh man of God, have you come to call my sins to remembrance?" She did that introspection immediately. And I'm not sure the man of God at that point, his doctrine was straight, perfectly straight according to the New Testament covenant. But that son was healed and raised. And there's a healing in that when we understand we must not turn inward, we must always turn upward.
Right.
And God's the answer. We're going to come back here in just a moment. I want to hear, how did you go from fostering to adopting, and what's it like having all those kids at the house and assimilating that every day? So we're going to take a brief break. We'll be right back.
Second Chance Youth Ranch is a very special foster care ministry. We exist to provide a loving home and a stable family for children who have been removed from abusive or neglectful situations. Our heart is to find the most needy, the most vulnerable children in the foster care system and to meet them right where they are and help them begin to heal. We have 2 campuses, and these campuses have large homes to enable us to take in large sibling groups. We also open homes out in the community. These are called therapeutic foster homes, and these are for children that have a lot of needs. They're for kids who maybe don't know how to handle their emotions. They might be suicidal. They might throw temper tantrums, but we don't care. We're not looking for anything in return. We want to pour out and love them and walk through hard things with them. That is why Second Chance Ranch exists.
I'm 11 years old and I'm part of the Baker family. My favorite thing at the Second Chance Ranch is being with my siblings. There was a time when me and my siblings were separated. The police had to come to my old house very many times. My little brother had popped my mom's car tire. My mom got mad at him, and then the next day she made him pick up all the sticks and then picked him up by his neck. My oldest sister ran over there and pushed my mom over. My brother dropped and my mom was trying to pick him up again, and so I pulled his arm and pulled him back, and then they started fighting. I felt like it was my job to protect my brother because I loved him and I didn't want him to get hurt. She didn't drink, but she would smoke and do pot and always come home with big bottles of medicine. She would always just leave us for my grandma, who was very old and couldn't do very much, and my big sister to take care of us. When we were finally back together, we came here at the Second Chance Ranch because My brother was at one place, and then my sister had recently moved in where I was. And then when we came here, we all were back together. My life now is awesome. The people at the Second Chance Ranch make me feel like I'm at home. They just take care of us and really show they love us.
A mission field around you is filled with young hearts needing a forever family. And at Second Chance Youth Ranch, our team is committed to providing healthy, stable, loving homes and families to hurting children in the Arkansas foster care system and those up for adoption. Please contact us if you feel the tug at your heart to help foster or adopt, and find out the steps you could take to help fulfill a child's lifelong dream. Maybe you can't foster or adopt, but you could help. The need for thousands of children in the system is staggering. But with the help of faithful partners and business alliances, we are meeting those needs right now. Would you help us make a difference? Every gift, regardless of size, impacts a child's life directly and helps provide for a home in the gap right now. Visit the Second Chance Youth Ranch website at 2CYR.org to read more, watch the stories, and to make a contribution for a hurting child's care. Monthly partners are needed, so please contact us right away. And as you partner with this ministry, you are partnering with the Heavenly Father that has promised to be Father to the fatherless. God bless you for helping Second Chance Youth Ranch.
Hey, welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. Our special guests, Jason and Nicole Stone, family of umpteen. Now, my daughter and her husband have 5 children. They did it the hard way. They birthed them all. So, but you guys taken a unique route with 3 miscarriages, 3 beautifully natural-born children, and then 3 miscarriages. And in spite of that, you took the next step, which was fostering and adopting. How did your faith work you through that process, the emotional trauma of the 3 miscarriages, Nicole? And then how did you convince him, or did he convince you, well, honey, maybe God just would like us to take a different route to fill our home?
Yeah, I think it was just a conversation between God and I of, well, what do I do? What do I do now? And I think at the point of having the 3 miscarriages was kind of like I won't say really a sign, but just kind of maybe a roadblock in that direction, and just realizing that God has so many other children that are already here in this world that don't have parents.
There are about 340 of them in the state of Arkansas that are looking for a forever family. And with all the millions of people, in previous show I said 1 million people in Arkansas, there's actually about 3 million, just 342 children that need a home. So you process that. Can I ask a real personal question, because we're on the air?
Sure, might as well.
What does a mother need? What does a wife need when she's going through that disappointment, that questioning of a miscarriage? What does she need from the Heavenly Father and from her husband?
I think for me, I guess most women might feel this way, I don't know, but I guess just a comforting knowing that they're there with me, that I'm not alone.
That he can't solve your problem?
Right, he couldn't fix it. There wasn't a way to do that.
That's frustrating, isn't it, Jason?
Yeah. But just knowing that he was with me and reassuring me that there wasn't anything I did. It wasn't my doing.
Yeah, because I suspect you probably went all the way back to your teenage years and said, what did I do to open up this door that allowed this attack to happen 3 times? And did it get any easier to deal with after the second or third? Or was that even compounding?
The second one was the hardest because I was further along. I was 5 months at that point, and we had heard the heartbeat and all of that. So that one was the toughest, but I don't think it got any easier. Yeah, I think it was more. It probably was harder.
Have a young lady in the church, her and her husband, and they struggled through multiple miscarriages and ultimately had 2 beautiful children.
Oh, yeah.
And one just celebrated 2 years old, and the other, I think, just celebrated 3 years old. And it's beautiful to see that. But then you guys continued to deal with that with a 3rd miscarriage, and then you took the leap of faith. Tell me, Jason, how was that leap into foster care. It's really not a leap, it's a process, but explain how that took place in you guys, in your relationship, because you had 3 children.
And they were all actually pretty young.
Yeah.
And so at the time, do you remember the ages, like 5 and under, maybe ish?
Yes. I mean, our boys are real close. It was
yeah.
just like 5, 4, 3.
And then you bring an
And
infant
then so then
in
we're
as a foster
right.
child.
So we saw on one of the Christian TV stations, we saw Mary Carol Peterson talking about the call, and so I called her in there because we were kind of already being stirred a little bit, you know, in our hearts, and so I called her in there, and so we watched about what she was speaking about, because it was kind of towards the beginning of the call, I believe.
The call at the beginning, and was that in the Little Rock office?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, because that's all it was just her starting it out, because this was in 2000, I don't even know, 9, I guess.
So was that first
Or 8.
call just like, hey, what's available and what do y'all do to help us?
Yes.
The call being an agency that we've had on television here to help people get through the fear of the unknown.
Right.
You don't have to do this by yourself. You don't have to call DHS and say, hey, you got any kids for adoption?
Right.
The call will literally walk you through that.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're a huge help.
Oh, we couldn't have done it, I don't think, without them.
Absolutely, no.
So
we
you,
went to a meeting.
you made the call.
Made the call, and then we went to an informational meeting, and we show up with these 3 little boys, and everybody's looking at us like, what
are you doing
Are
here?
they sure? Are they
Yeah.
okay? You know. And so we just listened and took in all the information that there was, and then we said, okay, this is something that we want to do, we feel led to do. And so we went to a class, went to the classes and did everything.
Were you working in the psychiatrist's office at this time?
No, it wasn't. I should have been.
Yeah.
No.
No, she wasn't. But,
So y'all brought in an infant?
Yes. We our very first one was, which is now Ella. We got her when she was 2 days old from the hospital. Nicole went to pick her up at the
As
hospital.
a foster parent.
As a foster parent, right. So that was very scary, because you're bringing home essentially someone else's child, right?
Was
And
the
so-
plan at that moment to foster?
Well, I think we might need to back up. We actually went in the classes for the call. We went as adoptive
That's true.
parents.
That's true.
But during the classes, in this one particular class, we both came out of there saying, I feel like God wants us to foster.
Yep.
Because I think most people think that fostering is so hard because you don't want to get attached and then you don't want them to take them away and all that. But I think at that moment, we saw it as a ministry to be able to take care of someone else's child until they're able to get on their feet again and, kind of change their life around. It's like giving them another chance.
Yeah.
And I think that was really big for us. Right. And we both were like, okay, let's do it, let's foster. And that was huge for us to be on the same page at that moment.
Yeah.
And so you started fostering this beautiful little 2-day-old infant.
Right.
Yes.
When we were foster parents when I was a little boy, we've got a little girl she was 3 days old.
Okay.
And she was adopted around 7 months old, if I remember right. My sister, if she ever watches this show, will straighten me out. So we're going to take a brief break here in a moment because we want to find out what did the Holy Spirit do in your heart that took you from this thought and plan of fostering, originally adopting, and then deciding maybe we should foster and be the ones that give this child a second chance. And then all of a sudden, boom, something began to happen. Well, it was already there, but God just clarified it.
Yes,
so we're going to take a
exactly.
brief break, and we'll be right back with the Stones. Hi, I'm Perry Black, and I'm right here with my dear friend, Senator Kim Hammer. Kim, can you tell us why you're at the banquet and why you and many of your folks support Second Chance Youth Ranch?
Sure, thanks, Perry. The reason I'm at the banquet is to support Second Chance Ranch because they play a valuable role in providing to the needs of children that are in foster care. They are unique in what they do. They are unique in the way in which they take care of children, and they are much needed in the state of Arkansas, and they've proven that with their valuable record as far as taking children and giving them a real home environment. And I support Second Chance Ranch, and I'm very proud to be here tonight, Perry, and support you and your cause.
Thank you, Senator.
You're welcome.
Why don't you contact us and connect with us and prayerfully support Second Chance Youth Ranch. God bless.
The reason we support the ranch is because it's all about hurting children, and hurting children can't help themselves. They need people like us to help them, and if not us, then who?
I came from a big family, so being out the ranch kind of reminds me of home a little bit, except these are not all same brothers and sisters, but they're as close knit as any family I've ever seen, and it's just melts my heart to see these kids having a second chance, having a life that they wouldn't have had without it.
If you care anything about children, you should help the ranch. These children need us. They need you. They need us. They need every one of us, because there's so many of them that without our help, they have no place to go and no future.
The COVID and all this is going on, it seems like there's probably even a bigger need, and there's more foster kids that need help. And so the more money, the more housing, the more help that can be given to all these kids that desperately need it.
Hey, welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. We're visiting with the Stones. Double your pleasure, double your fun. And you guys are adoptive parents of 2. We ended the last segment because y'all fostered an infant on day 2. Mm-hmm. That child's how old now?
She's 11.
11. Mm-hmm. And so how did you go from fostering, at what point, just in your heart, did you go, this is awesome, we love this baby? What happened? You probably loved that baby on day 2.
Oh, exactly.
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think I had a little arm's length trying to love her and care for her and all of that, but just doing it a little bit like, okay, she's may not stay.
Be ours forever.
Right, she may not be with our, I don't know what's going to happen, the future. It's more of that trust with God. God, I trust you with this situation. I trust you with this child. I know you're going to do what's best for her. And it ended up that her biological mom's rights were terminated, and the father as well. And so at, I believe it was 8 months, we got to adopt her.
So you found out when she was 8 months old that she was available for adoption.
Might have been like around 6 or 7 months.
And were you like really excited at that point?
Oh, yes. And then we started calling her the name that we knew we wanted to call her.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And so that was how many years ago? 9?
I was 10 years
How
ago.
old is she?
10 years. She's 11.
She's 11.
She's 11.
So she was
Yes.
But now there's more to the story. That child has a baby child too now, a baby sister, baby brother.
Sister.
Yes.
So that child has a baby sister that you also fostered?
Right.
Yes.
We fostered her as well.
Are y'all thinking about doing a third one?
I think we're full.
I think our house is full.
Yeah. So tell me about this next child. How old is that child now?
She will be 9 on Saturday.
And how old was she when you got her?
3 days.
3 days old. And when did you find out that you were not just going to be that child's foster parents, but that you were now potentially going to get to adopt that child?
It was around 2 years. She was around 2 years old.
So you fostered for 2 years thinking
Yes.
this was just going to be a foster child and somebody
Yes.
would be restored to her
Yes.
family, and you found out that the rights of those parents were
Right.
also
Yeah.
Right.
relinquished by the court.
She actually had visitation and everything. And
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
but
So
it just
you
didn't work out.
Mom.
We don't
you
know
met
her.
Mom?
I don't know
Yes.
her as well as I wished I
Yeah.
could have known her, but yes, we got to meet her.
So let's think about this. Our show, Second Chance Youth Ranch TV, is really designed to keep in the forefront of the Victory Television Network audience, fostering, mentoring, and adoption. At some point, y'all didn't really think about fostering and adopting, but through what we would otherwise call very traumatic personal events, took the first step. The call helped you with that. That's why we're on television. We want people to know there are 340 children that are looking for a home. Those children want to be loved. Around the holidays, they want somebody to be Santa Claus. They want to know that somebody cares on purpose. What would you tell them? What would you say to those who are just kind of thinking about it? They watch a show like this late at night and, man, I've always wanted to do that. How do they take that first step?
I think sometimes we think we have to be perfect or we have to have the perfect family
Well,
or
that
everything
rules
has
all
to
of
be
us
right.
out.
Then we're all out, and that's the point. I think we're hard on ourselves, so we look at that and say, well, I could never
Right.
foster or adopt because of that. It's like, man, we would all be out if that was the case. And so just if you have love, in your heart for people and for kids, and that to me is the main deal, and you can show them love obviously through God's love. So
How now, having infants with your children, at one point they were only, the oldest was 5, so that was probably a little easier to assimilate. But did you deal with any interpersonal issues where maybe the 5-year-old's trying to figure out why you're hugging this baby all the time, or did they just, I want to hold the baby too?
I think it was more like that. I
Yeah.
want to hold the baby too.
Being that young.
Yeah, just they because they were so young. We have pictures of them holding each one. All the
sweet.
family.
and we had a lot of talks. But I know they're young, but we still had the talks like, hey, there's going to be this another. We don't know if it's a boy or girl, but there's going to be another child coming into the
Right.
family.
Did your
for fostering.
church group support you and encourage you, and did they give you a mama's night out or a date night? Any of that?
They definitely supported
Yes.
us.
Yes.
They definitely did.
And you guys attend Agape Church in West Little Rock?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I don't know if everybody that watches us, I was there for 7 years myself, so
Okay.
very familiar with the church.
Okay.
Monty Manser was the children's minister. He was in my youth department. Scott Stewart, the pastor, helped
Yes.
me in the drama department of my youth department. So I had really close connections there. And it's so important to have a support network.
It is.
How was your parents? Were they really supportive? They fall in love with the baby as quickly as y'all?
Oh, good.
They
I
were
think
there.
more so.
Yeah, more so. They were
just-
there that night.
Yes,
and so they just
oohing
couldn't
and
wait.
cooing
Right.
all over them.
Yeah.
They have been the best.
Yes.
And we have
Yeah.
3 sets, and all 3 of them are just amazing.
You got information from the call, connected with the call, some training. After the adoption began, we've got 1 minute. Did they give you support? Did you have to make some phone calls? You already had 3 kids, so you knew what it was like to be parents. Did you need much support after the fact?
Well, the matter of fact, the call has a thing called Call Mall, which people give to help beginner parent. Like we didn't have any girls, right? So we didn't
Yeah.
have any girls things, and so we didn't have any diapers, obviously, because when we got that call saying, "Hey, there's a child here for you to come pick up," we called them immediately. Said, "Hey, can we come get in the Call Mall so we could get?" And that was huge for us.
So you had 3 boys, and now those 2 adoptive daughters, which are now forever family
Yes.
daughters.
Yes.
Yes.
They've got 3 big brothers.
Yeah, that's right.
Man, that is so powerful. I pray this show is informing you, but more than anything, it's inspiring you to get engaged and get involved. If you don't know what else to do, plant a seed in a ministry like Second Chance Youth Ranch, The Call, Project Zero, a local ministry, Baptist Home, the Hillcrest Home or Compact Home in Hot Springs. There's so many avenues for you to get involved. So take that first step, send us an email, make that phone call. Let us know how we can help you change the life of a child in waiting. So we'll see you next time right here at Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. God bless.